Hey everybody, Angel Arts here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments. In our last episode, we kicked off the sixth and final crime, case that Sherlock is going to do in order to help our good friend Wiggins and his brother, who supposedly was wrongfully accused of murdering two people.
Mr. Holmes, whatever brings you here so late at night?
I'm interested in the case of young Leighton Chapman. He was arrested earlier this evening and accused of a double murder.
I beg your pardon? That case is quite clear to the police. Or are there any new facts that we don't know about?
Who knows, Inspector?
Look, you are free to investigate, of course, Mr. Holmes. Chapman was arrested with a revolver in his possession, which you can find in the evidence room. The suspect himself is in custody.
Did you find anything else on his person?
A few personal belongings. Nothing particular, Mr. Holmes.
We'll see about that.
Thank you, Lestrade.
Thank you, Lestrade.
I'm always wondering what's on your mind.
Yes, you always say that. Oh, here, late at night at Scotland Yard. I'm here when I could be dining on rat head salad. Leighton's belonged. Yep, there's a gun there. Rolled
These
cigarettes.
cigarettes are filled with cheap tobacco. Nothing interesting.
An apple. How very Aladdin of you.
A cheap watch, bought with his own money, no doubt. So this is the gun that Leighton was holding when he was caught by the police. It is a Webley revolver, a reliable weapon.
Just because he's in possession of gun didn't mean he was the cause of the murder.
It seems as though the shells were not removed from the cylinder.
Don't point it at yourself, Holmes. There are 2 bullets missing. Yeah, that is incriminating.
2 out of the 6 shells have been fired. There were 2 shots.
That is an interesting coincidence, if it is a coincidence. It doesn't look good so far. He fired 2 shots to kill 2 people. Leighton. Wiggins' brother.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation.
We'll have to see if he actually is innocent.
Good evening, Mr. Chapman.
Who are you? I've got nothing to say. It's all a mistake.
Calm down, Leighton. I have come here to help you. To find out if you truly are innocent, as your younger brother Wiggins has told me.
My brother? You know him? Then that means you're...
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, blimey. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell you everything.
Perfect. But first, I'm going to take a profile of you. First of all, there's that scar on his face. Deep scar, occasional fights, grew up on the street. Yeah, unfortunate. Ooh, I like that fancy scarf. Downtown fashion, cushy jobs, office clerk, really? Tattoo. Westgate prison tattoo, passed in prison, committed a crime. But did he commit this crime is the question. Recent beating, resisted arrest, hot-headed. Yeah, that's not gonna help you if you actually are innocent. Not gonna help you, unfortunately.
Good. Tell me your account of what happened.
I left my work and I hurried up to see the fireworks in Whitechapel. I was late, so I decided to cut through Half Moon Street. I saw the first fireworks light up in the sky. I bumped into a constable on a corner before entering Half Moon. Then suddenly, what with all the firework flare, I saw 2 men. They were both lying flat in the middle of the street. I stopped where I was. I thought about turning back to the police, but as I was thinking of that, I saw a third person. He was leaning over the body that was furthest from me. The second I saw him, he raised his head and he stared at me. In a flash, I saw his gun, but he made a dash for it instead and he escaped through Whitechapel Street.
So you might still have had time to return to the constable.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, I approached the bodies just to see if they were still alive. I saw that one had blood pumping out of his stomach. He was dying. It was horrible. The second one was already dead. He had a hole in his head.
Shot to
He
the
was
head?
holding a gun in his hand, though. I took it,
Oh.
and then I followed the third man.
Oh. Okay.
Interesting. Pray, continue.
So he took his
I turned
gun.
the corner, and I saw the man standing in the middle of the street. He seemed to be in some sort of panic. And then, Mr. Holmes, something strange happened. I told the police and they laughed at what I said, but I swear to you, my words are true.
So what happened?
I started running towards him. But then I was blinded by a flash. It was so bright that I hardly saw anything for a good dozen seconds.
Flashbang?
But I kept running forward. As I arrived in Whitechapel, I heard a woman screaming. And then I was caught by the police. But there wasn't a trace of that man. Of course, then they found a gun and all that blood. I couldn't see the murderer escaping and all that mess. Perhaps I was still half-blinded at that moment.
A thrilling account, my young man.
So, if what he says is true, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And probably could have handled the situation differently. And maybe he might have not been in the same mess. Possibly.
Leighton, are you able to describe the person whom you saw standing in Half Moon Street?
Well, I wasn't able to see his face at all. It was too dark. And he was too far away. I could see his silhouette.
And what about that?
Nothing so special. He was wearing a jacket. He was quite average in size and his weight.
I see. Was there anything else that struck you at the time?
No. But perhaps it's strange, but I can't remember the sound of his footsteps as he was running away. Perhaps it was because of the fireworks or the surprise of me seeing him.
We shall see you soon, young man.
If his story holds true. Leighton Chapman. Leighton Chapman is in his 20s and is Wiggins' older brother. Growing up on the streets and being a hot-headed lad, he committed a crime for which he served time in Westgate Prison. He is currently detached from his past street life and is probably working somewhere as an office clerk, so he's trying to turn his life around. Okay. Now we're gonna go examine the scene of the crime. Half Moon Street. Alright. Now that we know the story, his version of what happened, we can go to the scene of the crime a little better educated. Oh. Is this the alley? This is creepy. Dead end. Oh, the two bodies are still there. Yeah, here they are. One shot to the head, one shot to the chest.
Please, gentlemen, leave the scene now. Oh, Mr. Holmes. Is that you?
Good evening, Constable...
Constable Marrow. I was here with Inspector Aberline during the Ripper case, Mr. Holmes, back in '88. But then this is nothing like that case. With this one, we've got the murderer, the weapon, and the statements, which speak for themselves.
Of course, Mara. But you know that appearances can sometimes be deceiving. Who were the victims?
The two men here, both shot. The stab fellow was Brian Vercotti, a well-known ruffian. The other, Kenneth Butler, a jeweller by trade.
You spoke of statements. You have witnesses?
Well, I was there, so I gave my own statement. And then there were two other witnesses who said they saw the killer Chapman.
But they didn't see the
Mr.
murder.
Turner, a gentleman who lives in that flat over there. And Polly Powell, a flower seller, who was over at the far side of the street.
Huh. But they didn't see the actual murder take place. That's the problem. They just saw him there, but not the actual murder.
So, Constable Marrow, I should be delighted to hear your testimony.
I was standing at the north side of Half Moon Street. That was the side that you came from.
Aha.
But you would have been unable to observe this part of the street, where we are standing now.
Exactly.
That is correct. But I saw the two victims slowly enter Half Moon Street, and then shortly after, the fireworks started. A few minutes after that, the fellow Chapman rushed towards me and ran into Half Moon Street.
Please continue.
I didn't pay attention, but suddenly I heard a woman's cries and police whistles on the other side of Half Moon Street. I rushed over there and I saw the two dead bodies on the ground. When I reached Whitechapel Street, I saw Leighton Chapman. He'd been caught by two police constables.
So that story does line up with what Leighton said, which is good for him. So far, he hasn't said anything, I don't think, that contradicted with what Leighton said. So it could very well be that he was telling the truth.
Did you hear the shots?
I didn't hear any shots. The fireworks were all over the sky. They were so loud I couldn't hear anything else.
Perfect opportunity to murder someone by gunfire during fireworks.
What were the fireworks in honor of, Constable?
Well, today's Queen Victoria's birthday, Mr. Holmes.
Her awful homes.
Yes, I appear to have lost track of the days. It is May now, of course.
Shame on you, Holmes, for not knowing that.
Constable Marrow, what else caught your attention while you were running through Half Moon Street?
I saw nothing but rats, and I took the time to light every corner with my lamp.
Did you happen to look up at Mr. Turner's window when you were on Half Moon Street at that time?
Yes, I saw that the window was open, but no one was there. It was dark in the room.
Constable, your statements have been of great value to me.
Let's examine the bodies. Start with Brian Vercotti. Wow, there's already flies on him. Or fireflies. Hand. Maybe he was the one that had the gun.
He tried to stop the bleeding with his hand. Death was not instant.
Poor guy.
The bullet penetrated his stomach.
Oof.
A dreadful wound.
Oof.
Brian Vercotti suffered greatly. What a terrible way to die.
Poor thing. Of course, we don't know who he is and what he did. Why did he get killed? There is the tattoo.
A tattoo from Westgate Prison. Vercotti must have done some time there.
Just like
Brian
Leighton.
Vercotti and Leighton Chapman both have identical Westgate Prison tattoos. They were most likely acquainted.
But Leighton didn't mention at all that he recognized either of the guys. Huh. Interesting. If he did know him, he didn't mention it. Unless it happened so fast. Head wound.
The bullet struck his head. This man didn't stand a chance.
Plates. Stuck object. Piece of wood.
A piece of wood that has stuck between the cobblestones. Let us take a closer look. This shard of wood is quite new.
Have to take that to see what it came from. Key.
This is an ordinary key. I wonder what kind of door it opens.
Is he the jeweler? Was he the jeweler? I wasn't sure. Leighton's statements. Leighton was holding a revolver with the 2 fired cartridges when he was caught after the crime in Half Moon Street. Leighton Chapman stated that he saw a person leaning over a dead body just as he entered the scene. Leighton took a gun from the body and set off in pursuit of the man, but he was blinded by a flash of light. Brian Vercotti and Kenneth Butler were found shot in the dark and narrow Half Moon Street, which is located between Great Alley and Whitechapel High Street. Leighton Chapman had nothing of any value in his possession when he was caught by the police directly after the crime. Constable Marrow paid attention to Mr. Turner's window while he was running past the dead bodies. He did not observe anyone next to the window. It was dark there. Kenneth Butler and Brian Vercotti were the victims of a double murder carried out by one person. Are you sure it was one person? Last time we thought it was one person. Last mystery we thought it was one person, but it was actually two people, supposedly. Is there anything else? There was like a door over here that I could have opened, I think. I'm curious about that door.
Locked.
No. No, I don't want to exit that. Hey, nice hat, buddy. Nice hat. Did you observe anything? No? Okay. So. Leighton is acquainted with one of the victims, Brian Vercotti. Both of them have Westgate prison tattoos. I need to talk to Leighton. A metal door taken from the dead body of Kenneth Butler. A piece of wood that was found stuck between the cobblestones near the dead body of Kenneth Butler. What was that piece of wood? Did the man steal something from him? Ryan Turner. I need to talk to...
Good evening, Mr. Turner.
I heard Constable Marrow reply to you as Mr. Holmes. Are you that detective gentleman?
Indeedy.
I've heard of you. And well, I know things about this evening.
You don't say.
Excellent. Might we hear your story?
Let's take a look at this guy. Metal class Balaclava. War veteran. Okay. Requires support. Weak leg. Limping. Really? Really? Missing buttons. Poor life. Character portrait complete.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
He was scratching himself.
I was already in bed when the fireworks started. A few moments after, I clearly heard 2 gunshots from outside.
Okay.
Please continue.
I quickly got up and I grabbed the lamp from my nightstand and I rushed towards the window. I looked down and I saw 2 bodies. And there was a man with a gun who was standing nearby.
Where exactly?
Oh, near this body.
Which one?
Did he notice you?
I don't think so. He rushed towards Whitechapel Street without looking around.
But he didn't see Leighton? Did he see anyone else? Did he see Leighton?
Mr. Turner, did you see anyone else in the street?
No, I saw no one but that man, the murderer, the fellow they caught.
Oh, so it was Leighton that he saw.
Were the 2 shots you heard consecutive?
Yes, there was a very short pause between them, and they sounded different somehow.
Really?
It seemed to me that the second shot was louder than the first.
Okay.
That is an interesting comment.
That would be interesting. And that's an interesting thing to remember. A very interesting detail conveniently an interesting detail for you to remember.
Mr. Turner, what were your actions after you stepped up to the window?
I was afraid that the man with a gun might return, so I stayed close to the window till I saw the policeman coming in the Half Moon from Whitechapel. Then I walked out to tell them everything I saw.
You have helped us a great deal, Mr. Turner.
Turner's view. Mr. Turner stated that he remained near his window until Leighton was caught by the police, who came from the direction of the Whitechapel Street. Mr. Turner stated that he remained at the window to his flat until the police arrived. However, yeah, I noticed this. This is in conflict with Marrow's statement, as the constable did not see anyone at the window. Conflicting statements, yeah. That is interesting. I'm gonna talk to Morrow about that. After I talk to the other woman. The woman down here. That is interesting. I realized that right before I read it in the
Mrs.
deductions.
Powell?
What do you want?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the crime that took place this evening.
Well, I've already gave my testimony, but very well.
I want you to give it to me. Oh, I can't do a profile of her. Okay.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
Yes. I was selling my flowers as usual, and then the fireworks began, in honour of Queen Victoria. I enjoyed those. But then, all of a sudden, a young lad ran out of Half Moon Street and stopped just by me. He had a gun in his hand.
So you were the one who
He was
screamed.
like a ghost, and all covered in blood. It was dark, but I could see him, because of the flashes from the fireworks.
And then?
I
You
screamed as
right.
loud as I could. I knew that a policeman should be on duty in the vicinity. He had no time to escape. 2 constables got him. Then another constable came out from the very same street, and I heard him talking of a horrible murder.
But you didn't see anyone else before Leighton?
Did you see anyone else leaving Half Moon Street, prior to or at the time of the crime?
No, sir, I did not. Even with all the fireworks, I was very attentive, as I'm always on the lookout for customers.
True. That doesn't help Leighton at all. So far, nobody has mentioned anyone else but Leighton at the scene of the crime. This other person that Leighton claims. That doesn't bode well for him.
Mrs. Powell, did you hear the gunshots?
I'm not sure. You know, what with the fireworks?
Right.
My thanks to you, Mrs. Powell.
Common statement. Leighton Chapman is the only person who was seen entering Half Moon Street after Brian Bercotti and Kenneth Butler. He was seen standing over the dead bodies and escaping the crime scene shortly afterwards. Different shots. Mr. Turner heard 2 different consecutive shots. The second shot was louder than the first. Imaginary man. The person whom Leighton Chapman describes in his statement is a figment of his own imagination, created to vindicate himself. Yeah, because nobody's mentioned the other man. That does not bode well for Leighton. But Wiggins seemed positive that his brother didn't do it. So the question is that true? Is his trust in his brother misplaced? We'll have to see. I'm gonna go talk to... Whoa.
Mr. Holmes, did you see my brother at Scotland Yard? Is he alright?
Well, for now.
Mr. Holmes,
For right now, Wiggins.
did you see my brother at Scotland Yard? Is he alright?
Constable Morrow, we need to talk.
It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes. It would be my pleasure to assist you with your
Talk to Mr. Turner and check the view from his flat. There should be something to explain his contradictory statements. Right. Ryan Turner is around 60 years of age. He's a veteran of the Crimean War, a fact of which he is very proud. His leg was most likely injured during this war and has been limping since then. Mr. Turner lives a poor life.
Mr. Turner, you have stated that you remained close by your window after the crime, is that correct?
Oh, yes, Mr. Holmes. I stayed at my window until the policeman arrived to examine the dead bodies.
Okay. Westgate prisoners, piece of wood, door key, Turner's limp, Turner's contradiction.
That is very interesting, Mr. Turner. Constable Marrow stated that he did not see anyone at the window when he was running through Half Moon Street.
Right.
Well, I think Constable Marrow and me, we might have been distracted by the whistles and shouts coming from Whitechapel. We could have missed each other somehow. You understand what I mean? It was a bit of a stressful moment, to tell you the truth, sir.
Allow me to form my own theories, Mr. Turner. Would you mind showing me the view that you had from your window?
Yes.
Not at all, Mr. Holmes. Please, follow me.
If he was the murderer, it would make sense for...
Mr. Turner appears to live very modestly.
If he was the murderer somehow, it would make sense for the flower woman to not see him, because he would have just... Yeah, but Leighton said that he ran after the man. He ran after him. And that guy has a bit of a limp. He wouldn't be running around.
This fire is dying out. It was last tended to over an hour ago.
Fire, ashes, burnt paper. Interesting.
The papers are almost entirely burned. I am unable to see what's written here.
Maybe you should take it to the laboratory.
These words are illegible. The papers were thrown into the fire just a short while ago.
That's interesting. Why?
Mr. Turner was roused from his bed by the sound of gunshots.
Which means the window would have been over there.
Anything else you would like to know, Mr. Holmes?
Yeah, the window is... That was the one that he went to. Thank you for letting me in your house and being so cooperative.
The books on this shelf are in a mess. It looks as though Mr. Turner was trying to find something in a hurry here, a short while ago.
So he could burn it. Maybe it was evidence. Walking stick. Ah.
Perfect match.
Interesting.
So, Mr. Turner broke his stick when it became stuck between the cobblestones. He did not mention that he was so near to the victims.
Yes. Interesting. Now things are starting to fall into place. He's starting to get very suspicious.
So, that's the view Mr. Turner had when he opened the window. The dead body of Kenneth Butler. Brian Vercotti's contorted corpse. Mr. Turner had a perfect view of the crime scene. He saw the bodies clearly, and Leighton Chapman standing over them.
Right.
Anything else you would like to know, Mr. Holmes?
This kitchen knife is quite sharp.
Sweepings. Shredded paper. Huh.
There are pieces of shredded paper scattered over the table. His kitchen knife was used to cut the paper.
And then burnt it. Why? Determine the sequence of events on details you've gathered. Place the broken stick. Approach the body. Took something, broke the stick, approached the body, cut papers with a knife, threw something into the fire. What made sense? Placed the broken stick, took something. Got up from bed, took the stick. That's number one. Got up from bed, took the stick. He wouldn't just wake up and just randomly decide, hey, I'm gonna burn something. So he did it because he opened the window, looked down, then it went, approached the body, took something, broke the stick, placed the broken stick, placed the broken stick because by that point it was already broken, and threw something into the fire. He got up, took his stick, went over to the... Yeah. Went over to the window. Went downstairs. Took something. Broke his stick. Took out something.
No, it didn't happen this way.
Did not happen that way.
Anything else you would like to know, Mr. Holmes?
Placed the broken stick. Took something. Oh, I forgot cutting the papers with a knife. I forgot about that. Got up from bed. No. Open the window. Approached the body. Took something. Broke the stick. Place the broken stick. Place the broken stick. Oh, come on. Place the broken stick. Took something. Cut the papers with a knife. Ah, I did this wrong. Cut the papers with a knife. No, no, no. Approach the body. Come on. Place the broken stick. Cut the papers with a knife. Threw something into the fire. He woke up. Saw what the body. Did that. Took something. Cut it up. Put it in the fire. Nice.
So Mr. Turner used a book to hide an object that he found on Kenneth Butler's body. The question is, what did he find?
Right. That is a good question. Books. Fat prints.
I can see prints from greasy fingers upon the cover of this book. Let us take a closer look.
Moby Dick. Just call me Ismael.
Well now, what a find. A precious jewel concealed inside a book.
That's pretty convenient. I love how the guy is just watching us rummage through his stuff.
A bracelet with a unique ram's head design. A distinctive feature of ancient Grecian artifacts, probably of the Hellenistic era.
And we're just gonna take it from him. An antique old bracelet that was found in Mr. Turner's flat. It is decorated with distinctive ram's heads. You've got some explaining to do, Mr. Turner. Walking to the window.
Mr. Turner, how would it be possible for a man of advanced years, such as yourself, to rush from his bed to the window in a matter of seconds, as you have stated?
Well, I'm able to move very quickly, despite my age. And when the situation requires it, Mr. Holmes.
Door key. Westgate prisoners. Turner's contradiction. Turner's limp.
I highly doubt that, Mr. Turner. I observe that you suffer a severe limp due to your injured right leg. It would have taken at least 10 seconds for you to approach the window. That means you could have easily missed something or someone in Half Moon Street during that time.
True.
You're right, Mr. Holmes. I could have missed something. But it did seem to me that everything happened so quickly. Time can pull tricks on you.
Give me the whole truth, sir.
And what of everything else that you told us? Mr. Turner, it is vital that we have your complete and true statement.
Mr. Holmes, I do assure you that the other things I said were most sincere.
I don't think so. If you were paying attention to what I was rummaging through behind you.
Mr. Turner, you were not sincere with me. Not then, and not now.
But Mr. Holmes...
This, Mr. Turner, does not look like anything that a poor man might possess. It is worth more than the home that you live in.
I can explain.
No, merely correct me if I am wrong. You saw Leighton Chapman through the window, but you also noticed a glittering object on the ground, this precious jewel. You walked down and took the bracelet from the body of Kenneth Butler, and when you heard the whistles, you hurried away. That broke your walking stick. It caught fast between the cobbles. Constable Marrow was unable to see you in the window as you were climbing up the stairs on your way back to your flat. Upon returning home, you hid the precious jewel inside a book.
Ah.
Mr. Holmes, please don't send me to prison. I didn't do anything bad.
You stole.
I'm just a poor man.
You stole
When I
something.
chanced upon
Stealing
the
is
bracelet,
bad.
I saw it as an opportunity to make a little money. I was desperate. I only took the bracelet, that's all, I swear.
You made a mistake by lying to me. But you are not a criminal. I believe that.
He's not.
Although I must return this bracelet to its rightful owner.
Yes. Yes. Inquire into the bracelet.
I wish this crime had never happened, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, yes, you thief. He saw the opportunity, he took it. So he cut up the pages of the book so he could hide the bracelet in it, and he burned the pages. Got it. Got it. The antique gold bracelet was found in Tyrion's flat. It is decorated with sticker rams. I have to search the archives for it and talk to Leighton about the tattoos. So we're going to do that in the next episode. So thank you guys for watching, and until then, love yourselves and love each other.